Mastery. Today, we are talking about the e-commerce growth formula. And actually, it's not me doing the talking. It's our wonderful guest from OmniConvert helping us understand how to get those one-time buyers and turn them into loyal clients. Valentin, it's really good to have you here on the show today. How are you, buddy?
Hello, everyone. I'm very well. So what can I say? Considering the current environment and challenges, I'm doing quite well. And we are the blessed ones which are acquainted with the digital whatever. And I think we're doing all well.
Absolutely. Well, what we'll do, folks, is we're going to go around the room and give you all a little bit of an introduction as to who each one of us are. Before we do that, if you are watching us live, drop in some emojis. That would be freaking awesome because we'd love to know that you're watching us. If you're watching the replay, then type in the words replay so that we know. Also, Cloudways are super awesome and generous and would love you to check out the amazing Black Friday deal. You can use the code BFCM2020 to get 40% off your hosting for 4 months. That's insane. So that's the code BFCM2020. Do not despair. I will make sure I mention that code several times during this live stream because that is a phenomenal deal.
It makes me want to create a new account.
Absolutely. So let's just do our quick 30-second introductions and then we'll hand over to Valentin. So Jan, give us your 30-second intro.
Absolutely. I am Jan Koch. I'm the host of the WP Agency Summit, and this proves I can do the intro in less than 10 seconds.
There you go. Well, my name is Lee Jackson. I'm the host of the Agency Trailblazer podcast. Valentin, tell us a little bit about you and OmniConvert.
Yeah, so I'm a husband, father, and pet lover, and I'm a serial entrepreneur as well. I've started back in 2001 with bringing broadband connection here in my home city in Bucharest. And after that, I've founded an agency, then the largest online insurance player in Romania. I've made the exit, and then I founded OmniConvert, which is empowering e-commerce companies grow by using their data-driven insights.
I feel like I'm in a room of a master right now. What we're going to do, bro, is we're going to pop your presentation on screen, and then me and Jan will go quiet with awe as you tell us all about OmniConvert and the e-commerce growth formula.
Excellent. So thanks for that, and let's consider what's going on. So we are in the boom of e-commerce. So since the pandemic has started, the e-commerce penetration surged from 16% to 27%. A lot of digital players are blooming, and a lot of traditional retailers are forced to transform their operations, and they have a lot of digital transformation activities in their agendas. But in order for the online retailers to be able to keep up with this demand and to satisfy their customers, they need to take into account how an e-commerce grows. And I've made this thing. I actually have it right here, if you can see it. I've just made it for you guys. So the e-commerce growth flywheel. Usually, a lot of companies are focusing only in this part of the flywheel, which is completely insane because the competition is crazy right now. And if you are trying to pour money so that you can do demand generation and acquire customers, then to be profitable enough so that you can pour more money and make Google and Facebook richer, then you're doing this wrong. And most of the companies are doing this wrong. But since the beginning of trade itself, the trade means you have happy customers, then you get feedback from them so that you can improve your products and the customer experience. As you can see over here, you make those customers come back and buy more from you without you paying again for Facebook and Google ads. And then thanks to the word of mouth, you also get new additional customers that buy from you, and that's your e-commerce flywheel. Unfortunately, not two e-commerce leaders are aware about this, even though it's pure basics, and I love the basics, and that's how I'm trying to always simplify and not over complicate things. So when I've been an e-commerce entrepreneur from 2006 to 2013, when I've made the exit, we got at that moment something like 250,000 customers. We were profitable, making 14 million euro in turnover. My initial growth e-commerce formula was like this, and most of the digital marketeers are looking at their growth like this: traffic multiplied by the conversion rate multiplied by their AOV, and that for them means growth. The problem with this formula is that it's not respecting something which is fundamental. And this guy, Jay Abraham, I really appreciate this guy from the US. It's a marketing guru, old school, but really straight to the point. He stated this better than myself. There are only 3 ways to grow any kind of business, not only e-commerce. First of all, increase the number of clients. The second way is to increase the average transaction per customer. And the third one, get each customer to buy from you more often. The problem with the first 2 is that they are overused and they are not moving the needle on the long run. So the one which I propose you to focus on is to make each customer to buy from you more often. And if you look again at this flywheel, this is respecting completely the principle. So mainly, if you get feedback, if you improve your products, and if you get customers to be delighted so that they can come back and talk about you with their peers, that means you're winning at the e-commerce game. If you're not, you are just struggling with the CPC and tweaking the Facebook ads and making all these things, which is great to do and great to nail, don't get me wrong, but it's not moving the needle on the long run. There are some moments when the game of customer acquisition becomes way too expensive to continue playing. So the problem with the traffic is that it's getting more and more expensive. So you can see here this data. Like in the last 7 years, the Facebook CPC has grown 8 times, while the e-commerce sales worldwide have increased only by 158%. That means 1.58 times. Who's winning? Like in the rush for the gold, right? The gold diggers are winning. So Facebook ads, Google ads are winning, and nobody talks about improving the customer lifetime value or things like retaining your existing customers. So thanks to this understanding, thanks to having a sneak peek at 1,000 different e-commerce stores that push the data to our reveal product, which is doing customer intelligence for retailers, we've been able to see that there is a different way to think about the e-commerce. And if you don't have the right terms, don't expect to get the right results from your formula. And so my updated growth e-commerce formula looks like this. First, okay, you need customers, and in online retail that means traffic multiplied by the conversion rate, but you also need customer lifetime value. So that means orders per customer, that means days between the transactions, that means RFM, that means margin, and that means that you can actually measure how satisfied are your customers instead of just throwing boxes at them and then blasting them with remarketing ads so that they can come back and buy again because you have a discount for them. It's not working like that. And of course, based on the CLV, you can also you should also take into account the customer acquisition cost. How much are you getting from a customer, and how much does it cost that customer to acquire? And that means customer acquisition cost. So in my understanding right now, after all these years in e-commerce, after advising a lot of e-commerce entrepreneurs, after working with the companies which are generating more than 500 million euro in annual turnover, I've understood that this updated formula should be your North Star metric. So CLV should be taken into account. Customer acquisition costs should be taken into account, because otherwise you are doing this wrong. So how to improve customer lifetime value? From my understanding so far, there are 7 steps. If you want to improve the CLV, first, you can't improve what you don't measure. So you need to understand what is CLV, which means the total value that you're getting from a customer throughout his entire span. So monitor the CLV and the KPIs that are affecting it. So many people are being hypnotized about Google Analytics, and they end up into a paradox of choice. because they don't understand what they should be focusing on. But the beauty of, let's say, interpreting the data is that at some point you get it. From in my case, I've been using a tool, Rescue Time. I was spending 4 to 5 hours per day in Google Analytics, and at some point I've understood that I'm in this analysis paralysis mode, and I can't squeeze any more value from Google Analytics. And that was the moment when I've started to ask our customers, are you happy? I've started to look at what the customers are doing, not only what the visitors are doing. So the KPIs that are affecting the CLV are customer retention, net promoter score, customer effort score, average days between the transactions, orders per customer, or second month cohort stickiness. These are things that you should be focusing on. Then the next step would be to change the way your company defines success. That means you should not only monitor CLV like a leader that you are, but you should make everyone aware about the importance of CLV, because this is not a marketing KPI. This is a company-wide measure of success, because CLV is being affected by the product, by the customer experience, by the customer support, by the fulfillment, supply chain. Everyone is affecting the CLV.
And just to interrupt really quick, for everybody who's watching this, we are moving quickly here because there is a lot to talk about. So if you have any questions, throw them at us and we'll make sure that they get answered either during the presentation or afterwards. And also, if you see something that's really exciting, like this list that you can work through, just take a screenshot of that, because going through the replay is time intensive, because we are aiming at 50 to 60 minutes here. Screenshot every slide that you find most interesting so that you can just work through it. I think that's a hack that I use in presentations like this when I'm watching them myself.
Could we actually see the previous slide? Just very quickly for the that's the one, the one that looks like you've simplified the formula, but to me it looks really hard because I can see all those other elements in there.
Yeah,
you can remove them. when you screenshot them.
Going.
You can just blur out all these surrounding.
Well, I get the CLV, but then when I was looking at RFM, and I wasn't even sure what RFM was, so I quickly Googled it, and it gave me this massive blog post, Valentin. So I know I'm probably going to have some homework to do after this. Sorry, brother. Carry on.
The next step in your endeavor to improve CLV is to find your ideal customer profile. The customer acquisition is too expensive to waste money on customers you don't want, and most of your customers are, let's say, not that good, right? Not to say they are bad. So they are not justifying their CLV, is not justifying the customer acquisition cost. And in order to find your best customers, you need to do RFM segmentation and analysis. RFM stands for recency, frequency, and monetary value. That means not all your customers are created equally. Next step, optimize the customer journey. So build your customer journey map and then improve customer experience by looking at the touch points that you have with your customers. Tip here, one of the most undervalued marketing campaigns is the unboxing experience that has 100% up open rate. And that is the moment to plant the seed for the next order. Way too few companies are actually looking at this aspect, and they are just placing the product and that's it. Then the next step would be to find the toxic products, buying habits, and anomalies. Which are the cities, which are the traffic channels, which are bringing us the best customers in terms of CLV? What kind of products are the toxic ones that after they buy, customers have a high probability to churn? Then shift your acquisition focus towards the ICPs. That means focusing on the customers which are the best. And in order to, I think I have a few more minutes to show you what RFM stands for, by the way. So focus your acquisition offers, focus towards your ICP, your ideal customer profile. And that means ongoing optimizing your efforts by doing cohort A/B testing. So onboarding customers differently, acquiring the customers that matter. And last but not the least is something that most companies are doing the first. They start to do web personalization, they start to do email or ads without understanding that what matters the most is not the fact that you know my name as a customer. What matters the most is the fact that you know that I've bought from you 2 weeks ago and I was pissed off because you haven't delivered the goods that I got, or it was a bad experience, or I've given you a bad NPS rating. That is what matters, because customers don't care about us as companies, us as marketeers. They care about their pains and needs, and if you fulfill them. Otherwise, we're all customers, right? Who cares where we are buying something from, as long as that something is what fulfills us. So going further a bit, I'm going to skip this just a bit to show you what RFM stands for. RFM stands for recency, frequency, and monetary value. That means instead of segmenting your customers from some strange algorithms, you use recency, frequency, and monetary values. Data shows that the most recent customers have the highest chances to buy again. The most frequent customers have the highest chances to buy again. And the ones that spend the most have the highest chances to spend again. By using this RFM, you can group your customers into this kind of groups, like soulmates, the most frequent buyers that place the highest number of orders and of the highest values. For instance, you can look here, like 3% of the customers that generated 12% of the revenue. If you are using a scale from 1 to 5 to give scores for recency, for frequency, and monetary values, the soulmates would be having the highest score. So you can see here a snapshot from our technology reveal, which is works on Shopify. You can see here our best customers that have 555. You can see here the revenue per customer. You can see here the revenue per customer for a lover. So mainly, these are your ideal customers. And now that you know them, you can understand what's going on with them. So you can see how they are bringing revenue in your for your shop, for instance. You can understand how valuable they are. Then you can ask them what they would like further, because you want to keep them. And you can also orchestrate different ad campaigns which are being informed by them. So instead of building lookalike audiences based on your average customer, imagine what Facebook algorithm will do if you inform them based on your best customers. So using soulmates as an audience to target on. So mainly that's why it matters so much to focus on soulmates, so that you can understand them more. And of course,
is that something you can actually do then? I could actually, if I know who my quote unquote soulmates are, there is some form of integration in Facebook that allows me to say, this group of people or this audience that I've created, I want a lookalike of those exact people.
Yeah, of course. So that's
I didn't even know that. That's amazing and scary.
I think you would just upload the
email
address
is that what you do?
And create a custom audience.
Oh, can you do that? Oh, I thought it was like retargeting and stuff. You can tell I don't do very much on Facebook. I need to do so much more. Carry on, mate. This is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So what's crucially important is not to treat everyone the same, because you have ex-lovers, for instance, customers that have the lowest score in recency but the highest scores in frequency and monetary value. You also have these guys which we call Don Juans, right, that bought only once, a lot of time before today, but they have the highest customer lifetime value. So you might want to understand what kept them from buying again from you, and based on that, you can, by having these segments, you can look at the historical customer lifetime value and see how the soulmates are doing, for instance, how the lovers are doing, what is the difference between them. And once you understand that, you will never go back. So you can't unlearn the fact that you have a small portion of your customers which are simply amazing, and those are the bullseye for your marketing campaigns. So what you should be doing is to do this qualitative research and understand who they are and what stopped them from converting. Then analyze them by having all these groups, and then find out what their NPS is, find out who they are, find out what kept them from converting, which are their barriers and the reasons that stopped buying, or what made them buy in the first place. Then orchestrate the campaigns with this know-how. As I see, the qualitative research in e-commerce needs to have three aspects. First, the jobs to be done. If you are in the direct to consumer, you can't afford not to run jobs to be done, because you need to understand what makes customers buy a product, which are the struggling moments that makes them, I don't know, change their phone or their car or whatever you're selling. So these are the struggling moments. We are not buying objects for the sake of having objects. We are buying them to fulfill a job. And that means in order to get there, we need to understand their struggling moments, what is the job that they are doing, and which are the forces of progress, what's pulling them towards a new towards an existing solution, and what's pushing them towards a new solution. Then you can have two types of problems with the products, that means quality, price, features, brand, whatever, and with your services, fulfillment, delivery cost, return policy, and so on. All of these are insights so that you can improve your customer lifetime value, and then you'll afford to pay way more than you've done to acquire more customers. Then is the buying patterns, which means analyzing the quantitative analysis so that you can understand if there are cities or categories which are more present in the baskets and in the shopping behavior of the true lovers, let's say, or of the ex-lovers, so that you can identify if you are not doing a good job with some products or in some cities. Then you must understand your ideal customers more than you've just found out. So you can improve your ads and lower your customer acquisition cost. You can improve your assortment, so the products and merchandising, and then it's the way to improve your customer service. For instance, one of our customers which are using Reveal, they are not only that they are tracking NPS by RFM group, but they are tracking NPS and they make real-time action based on the scores. So instead of having pissed off customers which are really valuable and you don't know about them, you can find out that you have a problem and then in real time give them a call because they deserve your full attention. So mainly that was my presentation so far. I'm happy to answer any kind of questions you have. I also have a gift for you. It's an instrument. It's a tool that you can use so that you can understand when is the time to actually focus on various aspects. For instance, when is the time to focus on CLV, or when is the time to focus on conversion rate, or when is the time to focus on traffic? Because these kind of things you can't, let's say, understand unless you've done through this rodeo. And I had the chance to see how shitty it is to invest so much in Google ads and to make them smile when they look into their, let's say, P&L and make us do like this when we are looking at our ROI. So I think the right moment to focus on right aspects is the key to grow in e-commerce. And let me share my my screen with you. It's this formula that I've talked to you about. So I've added here all the growth levers. We have the traffic, the conversion rate, the orders per customer, the AOV, customer acquisition cost, and the gross margin. And once you are playing with this, you can see that if you have, I don't know, a high conversion rate and a high orders per customer, then it's almost the same, focusing on more traffic or in more conversion, in a better CLV, but it's not the case to focus on diminishing the customer acquisition cost. While on the contrary, if your customer acquisition cost is poor, then stop acquiring traffic. You can see over here what's going on. So you should be stopping. You should be stopping, focusing on more traffic or more conversion, and fixing the balance between the customer lifetime value and the customer acquisition cost, which should be more than free. So if it's less than free, that means you have money to burn, or you have a VC which is pretty generous. If it's more than free, that means you are keeping too much the money in your bank account, and you are not acquiring the market share that you could have. So mainly that's the formula, that's the instrument. I'm happy to share this with you.
That is Christmas coming early right here. That is insanely powerful what you just mapped.
Yeah.
I will Oh, so I'll put a link to this in the comments for you folks as well. I'm going to pop a link in here and you can get access to this. Do you mind just going through this slowly, how we could fill this in for our own purposes? So maybe just give us some examples and just slowly walk us through just a few of the steps.
Yeah. So step number one is set the initial value for your traffic. So let's say I'm trying to analyze my growth on for the last 6 months, right? Then I go to Google Analytics and I place here the number of visits, right? So let's say I have, I don't know, 200,000 visits in the last 6 months. Then what is my conversion rate? 1.2%, let's say, right? And then I go here only on this yellow cells. Then I'm looking at the orders per customers. How many orders are being placed by a customer?
And that's the average, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've got, let's say in the last 6 months, 2,400 customers that placed 4,000 orders, right? So that means I can do easily here 4,000 orders by 2,400 customers. That means 1.66, right? So let's take this for the sake of example. And then we have the average order value. That's something you can find in Google Analytics. It's pretty easy to find it. Don't touch this thing. Don't touch this thing. Go to the customer acquisition cost. How you find the customer acquisition cost? That's your total marketing spend for customer acquisition. That means media costs, the tools that you're using to acquire customers, whatever, social media, put there everything that's related to acquiring new customers, and the wages of your team. And if you're paying agency fees, put them over there as well. Everything divided by the newly acquired customers. Some companies are adding in the customer acquisition cost the other costs, like the rent that you're paying, but now maybe you are working from home. So the idea is to put there all the costs that you have and divide them by the number of customers that you've acquired throughout that period. So let's say we have this.
So you're saying literally everything we should be putting in there to get a
Exactly.
Because people will often just think, right, my cost per acquisition was the money we spent on our marketing campaigns, forgetting everything else, because we do have wider costs as businesses. Okay, great.
Yeah, exactly. And so don't take this. That's not the cost per sale that you can find it in Google AdWords or in Google Analytics or whatever. So add there everything, because everything that you're paying, you're actually paying to acquire more customers, right? Then is the gross margin. That means what's your gross margin at this point? 45%, 42%, whatever. So just a second, because I jumped that thing. So mainly, let's say you have a high profitable margin, right? So let's say you are selling something and you have a huge margin. You're a direct to consumer, right? So in this manner, you can end up by having a CLV over the customer acquisition cost by 2.15, and that's good. That's not bad. The bad thing is when it's less than 2, because when it's less than 2, that means you are going to struggle. I had a lot of examples of e-commerce companies that went to bankruptcy because of this, because they've guided their growth by the P&L, not by this kind of future revenue that you're going to get from the customers if you continue with this trend. And then you have here the best case scenario where you improve everything by 20%. So you improve the conversion rate, you improve the traffic, you improve the orders per customer, everything. And that means your growth will be 211%. But if you improve just the traffic by 20%, just the conversion rate by 20%, just the CLV by 20%, you can see that in this case, it's better to improve the CLV, the AOV, or the margin than to decrease the customer acquisition cost by 20%, or to improve the conversion rate by 20%, or to improve the traffic by 20%, because that will show you where you will have the less effort and the most impact in your.
So the higher the percentage, the better.
Yeah, exactly.
The track.
Because this is the margin uplift, and many entrepreneurs and many e-commerce companies are not focusing on what matters, which is profit, guys. Profit solves all the problems. Yeah, because if you're profitable, you can do everything. You can hire more talented people, burn more money on ads, get in front of the VCs and get a high valuation so that you can put their money to work, not yours. You can do a lot of things, but you need to have a system which is profitable. And you can't do this if all you are doing all day long is tweaking the Google ads or the Facebook ads or the new TikTok ads. And it's okay to do it, but it's not your job as an e-commerce manager or e-commerce entrepreneur. Your job is to build a system and to let's say, fire yourself from all these roles so that you can have talented people which are determined and focused, and they can do this instead of you. So your job as an entrepreneur would be to get to have enough money and enough leverage so that you can afford to fire yourself and hire someone that can, let's say, do this tweaking of the conversion rate or of the customer acquisition cost.
What I love the most about the spreadsheet, I'm just looking at it in a different tab. It is so counterintuitive that tweaking one of these factors by 20% would create different results than tweaking a different factor by 20%. But the spreadsheet just makes it so easy to play around with the numbers. Is there kind of a threshold that an e-commerce business needs to have in order to really benefit from this? Like, would you say have at least 50,000 visitors a month, have at least 2,000 customers a month or something like that before the data has any real significance?
I think at the beginning, you should have enough customers so that this is making sense. Because if you don't have enough customers, so if you don't have enough traffic, let's say, this is not going to make sense because you need to cover your expenses, right? So that's why this model works the best once you reach this level of product market fit. And in e-commerce, that is the moment when you can have what is called minimum repeatability. And that's when you understand that you have product market fit and you can scale with your with the ads, for instance. So minimum repeatability means like this: I'm doing this 20 times a day, and every time I'm getting $1 return, $1 profit. And that could mean anything in terms of the of how you acquire customers. If you are on the SEO route, or if you are on the organic social media, or no matter what channels do you have, if you have a channel that works, repeat that, and you can repeat what you're doing and be profitable about it, then you've reached this moment of product market fit. And that means you can scale and pour more money into traffic. The problem is that the game of traffic should end as fast as possible, because you should go to the route of conversion rate, and then the game of conversion rate should end very quickly so that you can move to the CLV. So you imagine that what you're doing when you're spending money on ads is to increase your sample size of customers that have tested your product, and you use them as guinea pigs so that you can see if they come back. And if they come back, you tweak that until you have a high customer retention, and that is the moment when you can pour more money into traffic. And that's easy to see over here. So let's say you have a business that gets 4 orders per customer, right? And they have only, I don't know, 0.1% or 1% conversion rate. This looks almost the same, right? Because that means the CLV is not going to be more important. That means it's the time to focus on acquiring more traffic, on bringing more traffic. And so mainly that's how it goes.
And this can work as well if people are moving digital products as well, like courses, etc. So if they're doing things on volume there, this isn't just something that's for physical products.
Yeah, it works for any kind of product.
Now, one thing I would love to see again, I asked you for that. You said that you'd got it down to a very simple formula. I would actually love a little bit more of a deep dive on that screen, if you could, just to kind of tell us how all that works together, because I get now what I think it was RFM, was it? I get that now. But there was all sorts of different things that were all related. So to me, in my head, that became non-simple, if that makes sense. And I didn't quite follow the math. I am not a great mathematician. So I was actually struggling to follow that bit, and you are an extremely fast person. So if you could explain that one a little bit slower for me, that would be wonderful.
Yes, of course. So
Sorry.
previously in this in that template, you could see how different growth levers are affecting the overall growth.
Yeah.
So traffic multiplied by the conversion rate means more customers, and that is the common understanding of growth in e-commerce. The CLV means orders per customers multiplied by the margin multiplied by the AOV minus the customer over the customer acquisition cost. So customer acquisition cost means how much you are spending. CLV is how much you will keep from a customer, looking at the trend.
So all these other elements are the other elements of that spreadsheet, aren't they? Which is starting to make sense. I think because I'd seen this without the context of your spreadsheet, I was actually struggling to work this out last time. But it's making carry on. It is making more sense now.
Then CLV as a metric can be affected and is going to be affected by the customer retention, which is being shown here in the RFM, right? The recency, frequency, and monetary score. If you have customers that buy more frequently, or if their CLV is higher, their monetary scores are higher, they improve the CLV. So that's how the RFM score affects the CLV. The margin affects the CLV as well, because if it's going up, the CLV goes up. You are keeping more from each customer.
Yeah.
If the customer experience is better, that means your customers will be more willing to come back and buy again from you. But the customer experience, to let's say, be able to monitor it, there are some ways. And the best two ways that I've seen are the net promoter score. So what are the chances from 0 to 10 so for you to recommend us to a colleague, relative, or friend?
Right.
And if you have a high NPS, we've seen that NPS is highly correlated with the CLV. So if the NPS goes up, the CLV goes up.
So the NPS and the customer effort score, the CES, affect the customer experience score overall, which in turn obviously affects your CLV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
I finally got it. When you first showed me it, I was like, ah.
It is a lot. It is a lot. But then in the end, when you're running an e-commerce business, you have so many various tiny little screws that you can pull, and triggers you can pull, and just angles you can take on optimizing your business. Whether that is, as we said, just pouring more traffic onto the website, whether that is CRO on the landing page that you're driving paid traffic to, whether that is tweaking your pricing, talking to your vendors and stuff like that to negotiate better prices to buy the products in the first place. I think it's really, really helpful to just see this breakdown so that you know exactly what steps you can take. I easily get lost in this.
With the customer effort score, so you said NPS, so that's the how likely are you to recommend, etc. What's the customer effort score?
This is the response that can be scaled from 1 to 5, for instance. How hard it was for you to buy from us.
All right, so that's you asking for the information, so surveys, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. No,
and
that makes sense.
You can see this on your dashboard. And usually, what you need to do if you're in the game of e-commerce, you should understand the rules of e-commerce. And the rules are, as I've said at the beginning, they are always the same. It's about over-delivering, right? So you under-promise and over-deliver. Not too much. So it's not about giving the moon and the sky to your customers, but giving that kick of dopamine when they get the package from you, so that they can say, oh, how nice of you to send me this small gift, which is 26 cents from China. But it's something, right? Mask. The guys, there were this fashion group, they were putting in the pockets, in everything that had a pocket, they've added there a mask. And it was
nice.
But it was useful, with their brand. And
I love how you're putting the customer first, Valentin. I've spoken to many people who would just focus on technical things to improve revenue, but in the end, I couldn't agree more that the humans that actually give you the money are the biggest factor in earning more and building a more stable business.
Yeah. In my experience, I've seen that there are only two types of companies, the product-centric and the customer-centric. We all know the stories of Amazon. They are not product-centric. They are actually customer-centric. That's why they've built this Amazon Prime. That's why their customer retention is 91%. So imagine this, the average retention for any retailer, the average retailer is 20%, and they have 91%.
Well, I think their CES with me is, I would say, is too easy. It is way too easy for me to buy stuff.
yep.
I actually have the latest product I purchased just yesterday on my desk, which is a sad lamp, and the way I bought it was this: swipe.
Yeah.
That was it. That's all I had to do.
You didn't tell Alexa to buy it?
No. Oh well. You see, I'm still a little bit old-fashioned, and I still can't quite get round speaking to my computer. I get really confused, and I keep saying please and thank you and everything else like that, like they're a real human. So now, Valentin, I'd love to know a little bit about OmniConvert as well, because I was looking before you came on at the different tracks you've got, because you've got the Reveal product, but you've also got the customer survey product as well. Could you just tell us about the suite of products and how they would help us, essentially, with that formula that you showed us?
Yeah. So one of our products is called the OmniConvert Reveal. This is part of our efforts to define a new category around customer lifetime value optimization, the CVO. So Reveal does for customers what Google Analytics does for visitors. And we are trying to democratize the access to the customer intelligence, not to be only for the big enterprise companies that can afford to cluster different segments and to address their customers differently. And Reveal is for free right now. It's free on Shopify. It's easy to integrate. Our aim is to give it to as many e-commerce entrepreneurs as possible, and to build an academy around growing your e-commerce by focusing on what matters, which from our perspective is CLV. That should be the North Star metric. Other products that we have, it's from the suite of OmniConvert Explore. And OmniConvert Explore is a CRO platform. It gives the ability for customers to tweak their website, to do A/B testing, to personalize the experience. So imagine that you have made your RFM segmentation, and you have those soulmates, which are your best customers, your ideal customers. But with the surveys, you found out that they gave you a low NPS score. And with Explore, you can change the website based on that. So it's about building scenarios so that you are relevant at any touch point. And with our integration between Explore and Reveal, we nail down the website personalization channel, and we nail down the customer experience part. Then we have this integration with Klaviyo, with SendGrid, and more email channels to add in the future, that empowers customers not only to send to tweak the experience on the website, but also to do email orchestration differently. And I think what is important is that our vision is that e-commerce is more about building an operating system that prevents instead of curing the bugs in the customer journey. And that's why the e-commerce entrepreneurs and e-commerce managers should start to think more like a movie director rather than as a medic, right? To interfere there and to fix what's broken. And that's why you need to orchestrate things. You need to take a few step backs and to strategize around what kind of customer journey do I want to propose to the market? Because customer journey optimization is going to be a super hype in a few years from now onwards. And e-commerce is just at the beginning. So we're seeing just I think it's at the 20% of what is going to be. And that's what we're doing at OmniConvert at this moment. We are obsessed about customer centricity, and we are building all these tools and have all these initiatives to train e-commerce managers and e-commerce entrepreneurs into thinking differently. Because let's say the curse of being an entrepreneur, I've been there. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have all about action. It was all about action. Let's do this campaign, that campaign, and you become like a monkey, which is running from here to there without understanding what's next. And the beauty of having time to think and to taking a few steps back is fantastic. It allows you to see what's going on in my business. Where do I want to go? What kind of levers, what kind of tweaks should I do? And if you project things and if you orchestrate these scenarios, it's fantastic, because once you do them, it's not about talented people anymore. It's not about buying very high, very expensive ads so that you can compete with Amazon. You have a customer base which is right, the ones that you are looking for. You are right in the bullseye, because you have the customers that love you and promote you, and they buy really easy from you, right? They don't have objections. They love you, and you're acquiring more like them. And once they've been enrolled in your concierge program, they can't escape, because it's about the habit forming, right? And after the first order, after the second order, the chances for them to come back are going up. We have this data from almost 1,000 online retailers. After the third order, the chances are 3 times higher for a customer to return than after the first order. So that means your focus should be in crafting those experiences so that customers are acquainted and they are buying from you more often. It's like going to the supermarket. You are not deciding if you are going to buy this yogurt or the other one. You are just picking the yogurt. So if
it's almost like muscle memory where you're grabbing. Yeah, that is exactly. So true. Yeah,
you're not a buyer, you're a picker.
Yeah, there's a really nice question that we got from the audience. It's about the A/B testing tool that you have in the Explore software. Could you dive a little deeper? Maybe if we have time, do like a quick demo or something like that about that A/B testing tool? I know I'm putting you on the spot, so no worries if there's not an option to do a demo right now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's I can do that. So A/B testing works like this. You simply have your existing pages, and you want to tweak the product page or the cart page or the home page or the landing pages, right? The objective of your website is to make the customers behave in the way that you want them to behave, which is to make them buy the products that you put there in your shelves. And the chances for you to craft the best experience from the very beginning are pretty low. And that's why you need to tweak your website from time to time. And what Explore does, it is empowering the customers to change the way their website looks so that they can improve the behavior of the website visitor. So mainly you have all your customers, and instead of showing the same thing to everyone, you for the A variation you show this, and for the B variation you show the other one. So by having these 2 versions, you will be able to see which one is converting better than the other one. And we've built this technology back in 2013. I was a pissed off entrepreneur. I had to wait for the developers to change a freaking banner on some part of the website, and I asked them, give me the power to change those, right? Give me the power. And after 9 months of work, they gave me the power. It was the grandfather of OmniConvert. I could drag and drop stuff. I could change things. For instance, we had customers coming from various cities, and instead of showing them the same thing, if they were from a certain city in Bucharest or Romania, or in Bucharest or other city from Romania, we were showing their main market square so that they feel that we are from their city. And brought an uplift of around 12%. And after that experiment, we were, wow, that was so easy, let's do more. And then we've started to do a lot of other stuff, like putting testimonials, which were geo-targeted, and tweaking the website differently. So if you've asked me, in the meantime, I've opened up a Chrome tab so that you can see how this works. So,
true multitasking here.
Yeah. So, for instance, I'm here on the Cloudways website. Yeah. And I've built a new variation, and I want to tweak this element. I want to change the text without going to the developers, right? So instead of saying here managed cloud hosting platforms, I can say outstanding cloud hosting platform, and voila, I have the control and the variation. So mainly with this tweak, I can affect the behavior of the customers, because of course words are affecting our reality. And
are you going to tell me it's as easy as including a snippet and then you guys just do this?
Yeah.
Why didn't I think of that? That's so cool. Carry on.
Yeah.
Love it.
Once you do this, for instance, you want to have a different audience, right? So instead of having to everyone, I want to segment the audience which is seeing this. So let's presume I'm trying to address only the customers which are coming from cities where the temperature is lower than, I don't know, 20 degrees or 0 degrees, right? So I can hit only those targets, those customers, if that's the case. Or I can address them based on the city, based on the range around that city. Or I can, if you're doing ads, you might use UTM sources of or UTM campaigns. Or so if you have your UTM term, for instance, outstanding, right? So you can have here a new segment, and that variation is going to be hit only for customers which are coming from a traffic source that includes this UTM source, so that you have consistency between the ads and the landing page. So in this manner, your variation is going to be looking like this, and see if this is going to affect the conversion. Then you simply allocate the traffic. You want to do this 50-50. Of course, you can send this data to Google Analytics, or you can see how it works for you. And then you decide when to run, and that's it. You publish it, and this is going to look differently. That part of your website is going to look differently. But of course, you can do this only on specific pages, only on pages which are from a certain category of products and brands and whatever. So in a nutshell, that's how it works.
Love it. That's clever. I know that. Oh, I think we've lost our guest. Oh, maybe he closed the browser window. He might be back.
Yeah, maybe, because he's sharing the Chrome tab in StreamYard.
No worries. Well, folks, whilst we're waiting for our guest to return, there is no time like the present to remind you all of the amazing Black Friday deal that we have. Use the code BFCM2020 to get 40% off your hosting for 4 months. That's pretty darn impressive. Bravo, Foxtrot Charlie Mike 2020. What's your biggest takeaway, Jan, from today? Just to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no worries. Put customers first. That is the most important thing. And then also, you need to have the there he was. You need to have the foundation in place. So it doesn't make any sense to optimize all these fancy tools, to run fancy tools, or to optimize for CRO, or to split test 15 different ad campaigns. Hey, Valentin. Before you don't have this baseline and the product market fit that Valentin talked about earlier.
Absolutely. I think for me, one of the bigger takeaways as well was just actually looking at that big calculation and looking right at the very top for the customer effort, etc. So how easy has it been made? And there were so many parallels, Valentin, as you were talking, that I was thinking about what I do with Amazon and how I am so hook, line, and sinker in their system. They've got me nailed. But how clever it is as well. So I was really impressed, and I really love the tool that you shared with us right at the very end. So we're actually coming into land. So we're really, really grateful for your time there, Valentin, in sharing what OmniConvert does, the different products that you have available, etc., and also just sharing with us those that spreadsheet. Remember, folks, if you check the comments, there is a spreadsheet in there for you that you can make a copy of and you can utilize. And if you want to just rewind till about halfway through, Valentin gives us a breakdown of exactly how to use that. If also, like me, you were struggling a little bit to catch up on the formula, once I'd seen the spreadsheet and then we went back to the formula and Valentin did a bit of a deep dive into that, I would recommend you watch that section as well.
Yeah.
And what we'll do is maybe we'll grab some some timestamps that might be helpful later on and put them in there, because there's some really valuable content in here. And Valentin, we are ridiculously grateful for you coming on and sharing all of that, especially for you, Jan. You're launching your new e-commerce site right now, aren't you? So it would be
really helpful.
Yeah. For myself, I just sell one course at the moment, so I do have other courses to add, so I'll catch you guys up eventually. But I feel like I've had a great start. Folks, if you want to find out any more information about OmniConvert, you can check that out over on omniconvert.com. Valentin, how could people connect with you? Are you on the socials?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn person. You can find me over there, shoot me a question, let me know how can I help you, and because it's my pleasure to contribute. After a certain moment in life, you understand that it's not about the zeros anymore, but it's about having impact in people's life, and I love to help. So get in touch with me, ask me whatever you need.
Awesome. So that's Valentin Radu over on LinkedIn. He's a nice guy. We can tell.
Yep.
And omniconvert.com. Jan, how can people connect with you before we go?
Search for the WP Mastery Group on Facebook. That's the best place.
It's a great place to be. I'm there as well. And folks, you can connect with me over in the Agency Trailblazer group. So search Agency Trailblazer or over on agencytrailblazer.com. Don't forget that code FCM 2020 if you want to take advantage of that amazing Black Friday deal. Don't forget as well, omniconvert.com if you want a bit of the action of the amazing products that Valentin and his team have created to help you convert those clients into lovers. Doesn't quite sound right, but I get it. Okay, I get it. Thank you, everyone. You've been wonderful. Keep asking questions, even in the replay, if you have any. We'll all be around. Thank you so much. All that's left for us to say is thank you and cheesy wave time.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. We'll